Microphone picks up everything. Good evening. You're listening to another episode of the Santa Boot First podcast. Tonight, we're talking Eagles final roster moves made by Howie the Great. And we're going to have a guest in here tonight, John Gonzalez, formerly of Philly Media, now out in L.A. We will be talking birds and perspectives of fans from afar. You are listening to the Santa Boot First podcast.
Are we live now?
Are you live?
Are you live now? Yes, you're live.
Good evening, everybody.
Great
Welcome
start.
To the Santa Boot First podcast from downtown beautiful Willow Grove. Our pilot for the night is Jim Marcus. Jim, how you doing?
Fantastic. Keep going.
The elder statesman, Donald Kennedy Martin.
What's
how
up
you
there,
doing tonight?
Smith? Good. How you doing, Smitty?
Good. Myself, Smitty.
What's up?
Right here, I got DJ the Don, always looking fresh with his hair.
Oh, thank you, Ryan.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Then joining us specially, one of the local podcasters, Bob. Bob, how you doing tonight? Friend of the show.
Checking in everywhere with my Santa Boot First t-shirt on.
And then the man of few words, Andrew Martin.
So
Behind the glass producing, we got Nate Money Moss. Nate, how you doing tonight?
Good, man.
Before we even get to the show, let's go over our sponsors. First, InsurePhilly.com, Matt Maloney, up to 10 quotes in 10 minutes. Tonight, we're also powered by Pops Irish Whiskey. And tonight, we filled our bellies with Mamma Mia's. We had some wings, we had cheesesteak stromboli, and we had a pizza. And it's been a very action-filled week in Philadelphia sports with the Eagles. So let's get right to it, boys.
Can I say something first?
That wasn't that bad, actually.
That's the first and last time Smitty opens.
I didn't think that was that bad, honestly.
He sound like a principal.
Yeah. Doing morning announcements. Good morning, kids.
Good morning.
Ben
How are you
Stein,
doing?
The Ben Stein principle.
Yeah.
Let's hear you do it.
It's too late now. You already did it.
No, we can restart it now. I can do the whole intro.
Let Deke do it again. He's
we're
got
good.
it.
We'll
Play
get
the
them
music.
next week.
It was
Play
good
the
effort,
music.
Smitty. It was a good effort, Smitty.
I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. I thought
It was a good effort.
it was better than what I did.
I'm in the room, so you didn't rip me, because normally when you guys do it, I'm not here, and I get ripped at the end of the
I didn't rip you. I said
didn't
you were
rip you.
professional.
A, B, and D grip you. We don't.
I said you were professional, Jim.
The only thing I
Always
disagree with you about
Don't
is
throw me
Howie
in that
Roseman,
with
so
the
let's
peanut
get right
gallery.
to it.
Howie the Great. Well, let's
get
talk
right
about the
to it.
final roster first. Any surprises on the cuts? We went through some of the roster last week. We were in here, and I think
I was surprised to see Davion Taylor, even
Yeah,
though
that
he
was
didn't.
elite.
Even though he didn't really do much.
I felt like we had a lot of linebackers. I would be honest, because I didn't think Harris would get cut.
That surprised me
and
too.
I also didn't think they would take 3 undrafted free agents. I agree with Joby. I mean, Blankenship, we'll see about him, but
He hits like a
yeah. I mean, we'll see. But obviously, they got rid of Harris because they made that move with the Saints. So
and they might be
you really
bringing
can't
Harris
complain.
back still. So
yeah, they made the big trade with the Saints. Brought in we were talking about it before the show. I don't know. You think he's being brought in for safety? But
That's
his
what they- that's
natural
what they put
position
him
is
as.
cornerback.
He's bringing in for
I think
safety,
they'll use him as a similar way to Malcolm Jenkins.
which is
the-
great. A jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's fine. And
Yeah.
Gannon, who's a defensive back specialist, that's what he came up as to become a defense coordinator. Why not add one more to the arsenal?
This guy is apparently so. Here, Bob, you'll like this. This is an analogy for you. He's like the Matt Barnaby of the NFL, right? He's a guy that you hate. He's a shit talker. He gets under everybody's skin.
But
You hate him when he's playing
he's
against you, but when he's on your team,
Yeah.
you're gonna love him.
So if he's a Matt Barnaby, then that's pretty good. I mean, who likes Matt Barnaby, right?
Nobody but Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
Not-
He's
not-
playing for
so
Pittsburgh
we'll
and
love him.
Buffalo.
Not
And
even
everybody
his own
likes-
teammates. I think like him.
Yeah.
So we'll love him. It gives his defense a little bit more of an identity.
I
A
thought
little bit of edge that they
Yeah.
might have been missing.
I thought the roster
Yeah.
construction was good. I don't think there's anybody that you kept. Normally you'll keep a third quarterback. I mean, I know that they just picked up Ian Book or whatever, but I don't think there was anybody on this team that surprised me that got cut. Like I said this week, I thought the whole Devin Allen was a good story, but I'm glad that he's on the practice squad.
I'm glad all three of them
Yeah,
are.
getting rid of Rager. I mean, I watched the press conference yesterday, and Devontae Smith was basically like almost like good riddance. Like, oh, did you talk to him on the way out? No. Like, I think these guys were ready. Like, just a change of scenery. Like, he obviously wasn't built for Philadelphia in the beginning, and the fact that they got more for him than Amari Cooper is crazy to me. They actually got good value.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the Amari Cooper a little bit different though too. That was a salary dump. He was making a lot of money. So
Yeah, but
if
he
I'm
was
Cleveland,
more
I'm not
productive.
giving.
And
I won't disagree with you there, but that plays into it a bit.
I mean,
We got a better trade, a marginally better trade.
You got an extra pick out.
yeah,
of
you
it.
got extra pick. I mean,
Cleveland just swapped
They
with
swapped
the
picks.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
the big move was
It's-
getting.
It's addition by subtraction
Right.
with Rager. And today, Sirianni had a press conference today, and the first thing they were talking about was Rager, and they said, so when they came into the press conference, it was at the beginning of his answer to it. You didn't hear the question, and you're not sure what exactly he was talking about. And then finally, he said he's no longer on the team anymore. He's with the Minnesota Vikings. I said, oh, he's talking about Rager. And that was it. He didn't want to say anything about Rager. He's like, he's gone.
I mean,
He's a memory. He's in the rearview mirror. Let's move on.
Yeah, and that's the way.
What else are you going to say?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going to kick him in the ass and
Yeah,
walk
I
the
mean,
door. It's already
no.
gone.
Nothing surprised me. I mean, we know that
Was he a distraction? Did he become a distraction in the locker room?
I mean, I think he became a distraction in the fact with like social media. I think they got tired, going back and forth with fans and like, like to me,
He
the
seemed
guy
cocky,
never,
but
he came cocky coming in.
yeah.
He looked good the first game, like with Wentz. I mean,
Yeah.
and then that was it. And you never saw anything from him. You saw like one punt return in the Packers game when the first game Hurts played, and that was it.
Yeah, he seemed really cocky for a guy that didn't really make much of an impact, and maybe he just got he just got annoying in the locker room. So I don't know if it messed with the the culture of the locker room or whatever. But I'm just speaking on I don't know anything about it.
I think he was more of a headache for the coaching staff and the front
players.
office.
And
Yeah, because
I don't think he was too
He
much
was
of
a
a.
distraction. To the
I don't know if he
players.
was a distraction for
I
the
don't-
players because he made no impact on the team at all.
that's what the thing was, though. He
But then
carried
he was being
himself a little
talked
bit
about,
like
right.
he did,
Right?
like,
No,
which
you're
is
right.
like, dude, relax.
And
Hey, but the players know the real deal.
But they also, it's a distraction when he's the topic of conversation. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Well,
The players don't care.
You
Like,
know what?
I don't
If that's going to bother you as a professional
it's
athlete,
not that it's a bother. It's just that they don't want
Then-
to talk about him. Like, no one cares about it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
the receiving core is a lot better. Like, right? You
It
got
is.
AJ
It's
Brown, you got
head and
Devontae
shoulders
Smith,
above what
you
it
got
was.
Quez Watkins. Let's face it, Quez Watkins, who's a 6th-round pick,
he's
right?
better than Rager.
Outplayed Jalen Rager.
Yeah, he's
That's
better
it.
than him.
So, like,
Yeah.
to me, he's done. Like Jim said, he's in the rearview mirror. The players probably
I
are
said
like
that.
good riddance. All right, well, Deke.
I said don't kick him in the ass and way out the door.
Well,
I don't think he was that much of a distraction because I think he went
I don't
into
know.
the offseason knowing he
had all
had
those-
to fight
he
for
had
a
all those
job.
Subliminal posts. I think that.
Yeah, but I don't really
they got
know.
tired of it.
That's PR stuff.
Like,
That's front office
Yeah, but
stuff.
like
maybe,
him
but I don't think-
unfollowing the Eagles, that gets
Yeah.
talked about because of the way social media is these days. The
Right.
black screens on his profile pictures, like
They're going
that gets
back
talked-
And forth, tell
yeah.
this guy to pull up.
yeah,
all
that
his
that
hands.
that gets talked
Like,
about.
come on.
Like it's
But
just
the-
stupid stuff, but it's still talked about.
Right.
They
Teammates
try
are
to make a
talking
story
about
out of
that.
anything.
Teammates in the locker room are talking about that. They're just busting his balls.
No,
That's
but
not a
it
dis-
gets
I don't
talked
think it's a
about like
distraction.
what we're doing right now. We're talking about it. I mean, it makes stories out of it, so
I
it's a
mean,
distraction.
What was your surprise? Who made it? I mean, I thought
No, I don't
Joby
think
should have
that's
played. I still think it's crazy to me that the best, basically, all right, Georgia or Bama, whichever you want to say, is a toss-up. The best team in college football, a guy that's a starting corner for the past 3 years goes undrafted from Alabama. To
Yeah,
me, that's
because
crazy. I think
he-
Joby's no. I think
I
Joby's
when I was watching him in the preseason, he was okay. I don't think he really was wow, blew me
Yeah, but-
away.
No,
he doesn't need
he's
to
a
be
project.
wow.
You
Yeah,
don't
he's
need
a
him to
project.
start. He's a guy that gets some special
He's a big
teams
dude.
time.
I'll say he's a big
Right,
corner. He's a
right.
big corner for his size. So I mean, that's
He
pretty
he
good.
reminds me of Douglas a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they're deep at basically every position now.
Yeah.
I said safety was their weakest part. They went and addressed it.
What about tight end?
They're Dallas Goddard?
Yeah, but you
I
don't-
would
they
like
don't
to
have
see
a
second.
backup.
They don't-
It's Jack Stoll.
Not bad.
I mean, he's a
And
he's good at
Tyree and
blocking.
is Tyree Jackson still? I mean, I haven't really heard.
And
I know he got hurt.
OJ
but-
Howard. OJ Howard. Tampa Bay cut OJ
Yeah,
Howard.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I
he's
heard
going
he-
to
a couple
Houston.
teams. Yeah, I heard a couple
Houston
teams
had
were
him.
looking at
I think.
I think they really like the kid. I don't know how to say his name.
Calcaterra?
Yeah, I think they
Grant.
like him.
Just
yeah.
call him Grant.
Grant. Yeah.
I thought he'd make it to the practice squad.
He
But
made
he's
the
on
team.
the active.
Yeah.
He's on the
Oh, yeah.
active. So that I'm a little
And
surprised
he
by
was.
that.
That was a little bit of a project.
He
With
was
him
a
too.
draft pick, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like 5th round.
7th
Yeah.
round.
Oh, 7th?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because he had all them concussions in college. He had a bunch of
I mean,
injury
they did
problems
take
in
a
college.
shit ton of linebackers, but I mean,
They
that's-
need to.
Yeah, exactly.
mean-
like, I'm glad that the team finally values linebackers.
I thought they would have
Me
kept another
too.
running back.
Well,
and you
yeah.
see today they picked up.
But like,
Right. And that was
They actually
probably
picked up 2 running backs today.
Yeah,
They picked up
Michael
Pirine,
Pirine.
yeah.
who's last with the Jets, I think,
Yeah.
and then they picked up Trey Sermon, which
I mean,
I
that
like the
tells,
Trey Sermon.
that tells
move.
me, and I know we talked about it last week. That tells me that like they didn't make a move. I mean, obviously Trey Sermon's probably going to be like your goal. I would say goal line back, big back. You know what Boston Scott is. That tells me that they fully believe. And I know we disagreed last week. They fully believe Sanders is going to be healthy.
Well, he practiced today.
Yeah,
He's
so
back.
that's what I
and
said.
and Kelsey practiced
Right,
as well.
so, like,
yeah.
So you want
I-
to start making comparisons to a Super Bowl team?
No.
I'll
not-
say
I'm
I'll
just
say
saying from the way
I'll
that
say
I'm
on the
not gonna
paper
say
they're
that.
better.
I'm saying the way
yeah,
that-
they are.
If-
On paper, this
so
team's
hold
better
on,
than the
if you
Super Bowl
say
team.
that- If you say that,
I don't know.
I think they
hold
are.
on, if you say that,
I'll say that.
then you feel like then you have confidence in Jalen Hurts. If you're saying that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think on paper this team's good enough
So you're
to
saying
be a
they're-
Super Bowl
I
contender.
They're
mean-
because the NFC is the weaker conference. I think they're in the mix.
Yeah,
But I think
I'm not
as a
ready. I'm
legit
not ready.
contender to get to the Super Bowl,
They're a
I
top-
don't think they're there yet.
They're top 7-8 team.
in the league.
Think about it. There's
Ro-
probably 3-4 teams in the NFC.
Their
I mean,
roster is.
let me ask you this: where's the if you look at the roster, you said tight end. Where's the weak part in this roster? Now you might want to say running back if you're
Well,
not
see,
in
safety.
it's
Sanders.
not
That's it.
necessarily
Yeah.
the roster that you have to look at. I think the things that are going to potentially hold this team back are the guys that are on the sidelines, the coaches.
That's what-
head
that's what-
coach and the defensive
That's what I'm
coordinator.
most worried about, to be
Well,
honest
we're-
with you, because the
Yeah.
players on paper
Yeah,
are
but
There's
loaded.
only
They're
one
loaded.
question
I
mark
agree
on the
with
field,
you.
and that's the quarterback.
I agree.
The biggest question marks are on the sidelines.
But the
I think so.
defensive coordinator, like Gannon, hasn't had the talent that he's had.
My
that-
fear-
Last year's defense wasn't
No,
horrible. though.
it
yes,
wasn't
yeah,
horrible,
it was.
But
It
there
was not
more
that
holes,
good.
is what I'm saying.
There was more holes for sure.
Correct.
Like if you had, let's just say hypothetically, you go down a linebacker, there's depth on this team.
Yeah,
You
now
go down
there
a
is.
corner, there's depth. You go to a pass rusher, there's depth. Like there's depth everywhere now.
I'm just curious though, Deke. Like, what concerns you about the coaching staff? Because that's a little bit about that's what I'm concerned with as well.
I want to see Gannon get after it. I want to see him be aggressive. I understand he didn't have the weapons that he has now last year
But you
to
wanna
get
see it
after
now.
it.
Yeah.
I want to see him get after it now. I don't want to see guys 10, 15 yards off a receiver at the line of scrimmage. I want them up in their face. I want him bringing pressure to the quarterback. You know, so it's supposed to be officially it's a 3 down line.
It's called a
defensive
3-4.
line. I know, but I want to see. I don't know if you can get home with just 3. I want to see pressure
Well,
coming
they're
from
good
different
enough.
areas.
They're good enough to rush 3 and a
And
4.
those
No, they're
A
not good
linebacker.
enough.
And
edges.
we'll see.
Why
We'll
are they
see.
not good
You
enough?
don't think those edges are good enough?
Who's good enough?
Josh Sweat?
You think Josh Sweat
I'm
is good
saying
enough?
Hassan.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
like,
he's
where-
pretty.
yeah.
He's got a
Josh
lot of
Sweat is
sacks.
very good.
Brandon Graham's coming back. He looks
Josh
healthy.
Sweat is solid. He's not very good yet.
Oh, it's solid. It's close to very good.
He's
Hassan
solid.
It's like on the
Reddick's-
same
Hassan Reddick's very
meaning.
good.
Yeah, hopefully they rush him the way they should.
Yeah,
But-
Brandon
I-
Graham's very good.
But Josh Sweat had his first breakout year last year
Last
out of
season.
4? Like, come on. Like,
Well, he
Josh,
was playing behind Chris Long, Brandon Graham.
Did you
Yeah,
just
I
say he was
think-
playing
I think
behind
he-
Chris Long?
I think he's progressively
Yeah, because
gotten
you
better.
are.
I mean, I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not. I wouldn't say that he's very good. Like, this is his breakout year, if he has a breakout year. Last year he kind of came.
He got
up.
a contract last year, so they think.
Well,
of
they
some
were
of him.
smart and got him and signed him
They didn't
early.
sign him cheap. or
I
anything
kind
like
of
that.
agree with that. I kind of think that Josh.
Like, if
Sweat,
you look at his numbers, what did he get double-digit sacks last year?
Nah, I think he had
Brody would
just
know. Brody's a
underneath.
huge
I think
fan.
he just
I
had.
don't-
Just,
It was his,
but-
it was his best season.
but
I mean, it was his best
if you
season,
look
but he
at-
still wasn't double-digit sacks,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
calling him now. While we're saying that he's a good DN, like he's a solid starter.
So what's the-
7.5 sacks? The 1 year 6 sacks. He's had production when he's got a chance to play. Now here's the other thing you need to
7.5 sacks out of 17 games.
He didn't start every game, and he hasn't started every game. He hasn't been that like When the year he had 6 sacks, he was like a rotational pass rusher.
He needs more opportunity.
Plus the defensive line stacked. Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Hargraves.
No, well, the edge rushers.
No, but I'm saying, like, that's going to also make it easier. Jordan Davis is going to get 2 or 3 guys covered alone, which is going to give Sweat one-on-one matchups.
I think you're an offensive coordinator looking at this team. You're going to say it's going to be tough to run.
Who are you
And
double
then do you
teaming?
Do you want to throw?
Yeah.
Do you want to throw against Slay and Bradbury? And now this new kid.
Right.
It's going to be a very good
Conceal
defense.
And you now have linebackers that can guard tight ends.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we haven't had a linebacker that could legit cover a tight end in a long time.
I fully expect this defense to be head and shoulders better than last year.
I expect them to make a lot of turnovers this team.
And to finish
That's
the answer
a
to your
huge
question,
thing they got to work
Yes.
on the offense, I want to see Sirianni
I need to
balance.
see creativeness.
Balance.
Well,
I want to see
it's
creativeness. He
Steichen.
has to use.
Sirianni
that's
game.
true.
I'll say
he-
Sirianni.
He
Game
gave
plan.
up, he gave up the play calling, which I think was a smart thing to do. They have the weapons. They have to put them in to borrow Andy's, and they got to put them in a position to be successful. They can't double anybody in the receiving core.
Right.
Everybody's going to be single
Goddard,
coverage.
Smith, and Brown.
Goddard's going to be. I think Goddard's going to have a field day in the middle of the field because he's too big for a defensive back, and he's too fast and athletic for a linebacker to cover. So I think Goddard should have a huge year as long as he doesn't drop the ball too much.
Yeah.
But you know what? To piggyback off of what you said, another reason why I think Goddard's going to have a really good year is that he's not like they're not going to worry about him as much because they're going to be worried about Devontae Smith,
the big plays.
Brown,
the way
or Quez Watkins.
The way to beat the Eagles this year is to just limit the big plays because they have guys that can make a big play for you everywhere on the field.
Well,
so
hell, I'll take 10, 15 yards at a time down the field.
That's what I think it's going to be. A lot of
and then when
slants
you get in the red zone, this is where Hurts becomes so dynamic.
Yeah.
Right.
You have his legs.
Yeah,
you can use him.
You can't take,
you know.
Was it Randall or Donovan said, "Let me be me"? I think it was Randall who wore a cap during preseason years ago. Said, "Let me be me." You can't take his legs away from him.
Yeah,
that's a very it's a very important weapon to his arsenal, and it's a very effective weapon to his arsenal. The arm is suspect, but the legs are not. You can't take that away from him. You got to let him do what he does, and he can't do it too often by design because then it becomes
predictable.
You got to leave it as a threat.
It has to be a threat, and it has to be every so often.
That's where Steichen was really crucial last year in play calling because they didn't really go into that run first offense till about when they went on their run. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what set them off as an offense.
That was the springboard to the run.
There, DJ.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's what made
but I mean, that's what Steichen was good there, and he just realized, all right, we got the best O-line in football. Let's just run behind them.
Right.
And that's what they're going to probably do again this year. So
I'm about to say, are you okay with that, though?
I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up the passing game.
I think they have to be a little more balanced this year because they have to. You got to keep those guys happy and throw the ball.
You're going to throw.
Those paychecks probably say otherwise.
I know. But you got to keep them happy.
But I think you're gonna throw a lot.
I hope so. I want to see Hurts throw the ball more.
All this talk of the
I think that's
weapons
my
and
concern.
throwing and taking the top off of everything. Does that mean one of the guys we beat on regularly in here? Does that mean Sanders finally has a decent year? Contract season. Does that mean because you're talking about big plays? He's a guy.
He's always going to be
a nice dump off to him. He's the kind of guy can take it 60.
Yeah, he's a big play threat all the time.
When you talk about the offensive line that's in front of him, and you talk about linebackers and defensive backs worried about all the receivers they got to deal with,
right?
That he should average 5 yards a carry. I would
almost
say no sweat.
That's what he's done.
Yeah, but if you look at the balance of his runs, it's because he breaks off 75-yard runs.
That's what those Penn State running backs do.
That's true.
2, 3, 9, 5, 7.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what they're known for. I'm not complaining.
Right.
It's just he doesn't get into the end zone when he does. He gets tackled at the 4.
That's what Barry Sanders did too.
Yeah, Hurts runs it in, or Kenny Gainwell gets it.
Yeah, we keep forgetting about him. Gainwell.
Do you think? Are you worried that they're going to pass too much?
No.
I
think it's going to be a very bad offense.
I think it's going to be a balanced
offense. I think it's going to depend on the game plan.
Yeah,
if you don't have a good secondary, you're going to attack the secondary.
It'll depend on what team you're playing and what the matchups are.
Right.
And and that's where you give credit to Howie. I mean, I don't know if we're jumping into that next topic already, but I mean, you watched that Bucks playoff game last year. Todd Bowles literally came out and said that this guy can't read a defense. I mean, he was mic'd up saying that this guy can't read us our defense. I mean, and Howie Howie probably saw that and heard that, and he's like, well, how can we get better? So
we bring in a number one wide receiver.
Exactly. You bring in a top 10 wide receiver in A.J. Brown, and you help your offense by getting another running back. And also, I think Hurts worked on it a lot. He only threw really on the sidelines. He never really went down the middle of the field. So I think that's going to be a big part of this game now too, because you have A.J. Brown, who made a career so far off of running slants and just taking it to the house because nobody can guard him on a slant.
Yeah, Jim, I was confused on what she was trying to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This comment on the screen kind of caught my attention. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Nikki, but we appreciate it.
Some major dude sweat going on in here.
She's sweating us. We sweating. I feel comfortable.
Does she want me to turn on some Keith sweat?
I don't see that
sweat.
comment. Where is that?
We can turn on some Keith sweat.
Some Keith sweat.
We had Keith sweat at one of our
shows.
shows.
She mean Josh Sweat?
Oh, she sweats.
Because we were talking about Josh Sweat.
Maybe.
I just think she's a little crowded in there, nothing but guys. I think that's what she's
wants to
It's
join
a
us.
Viking party. What
You
can we
trying
say?
to join
It's a
us?
Viking
That's all
party.
right.
Yeah, we're all right.
Shout out to Nikki.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Keep commenting. We love to bring people into the comments, into the conversation.
But I'm ready.
So you want to get into the Howie thing? I know you do.
Like all of us want to.
I can't take you serious with that buffalo wing sauce on your
That's
pizza.
what I told him before the show. I said you got to wipe it off.
So no matter what
And
you
you
say,
said that too.
no matter what you say, is going to go right.
That's what I
over my
told him. Like, dude, you gotta. It's honestly just leave it now. It's not that bad. It's not that
I
bad.
don't really care.
You can't see it on
Alright,
camera.
But anyway,
Hey! My cameras are nice.
The 4K
Okay.
didn't pick that up.
That 4K is nice.
but here,
You want opening statement? Go. I'll give you the opening
it's
statement.
not about
Opening argument.
statement. Like, here's the thing. So here's the thing with GMs. GMs are brought in to take risks, right? And sometimes you hit on risks. It's kind of like gambling. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. However, you cannot just base Howie Roseman's success simply on the fact that first-round picks don't always work out, because he's hit on so many late-round picks that have become franchise cornerstones. I don't care about the Rager. I don't care. Like, that doesn't make a difference to me when then you find a way to get a wide receiver in the same draft and Quez Watkins has production. It doesn't make a difference if you draft a tackle and then you get Mailata. Like, first-round picks. Everybody does not hit on first-round picks, Jim.
There are busts.
You're right.
I agree. We're going to go first 3 rounds.
That's fine.
That's where it should be easy money, right?
Not necessarily.
You shouldn't be
It's
taking
not.
big
I don't-
risks.
I'll say first,
You're
second
saying-
round.
Well, we'll go 3. We'll just go 3.
Okay,
Make
but
it
hold
interesting.
on.
So I will give you the late rounds, which I will tell you that's his scouting department. That's not Howie. Howie's not picking up these guys from Utah State and Brigham Young. He doesn't know that.
Who's coming from Brigham Young?
I'm just saying.
He's just
you're gonna give him-
gaming
You're going to give him all this
cupcake
stuff for
schools.
Mailata. I get you. He's had some nice ones there.
His
But-
trades have been amazing.
And I'm not talking trades.
And his
All right, we're
draft
gonna say-
capital that he
Here we
gets
go.
has
Well,
been
then wait,
amazing.
if
Here we go. Wait.
All
F.
right.
Mary Kill.
No.
F. Mary Kill. Howie the negotiator. Howie the salary cap manager.
This is easy.
And Howie the draft
I'm
evaluator.
killing draft evaluator.
Exactly. That's my.
I'm marrying
that's
the
fine.
trade negotiator, and I'm
Here's the thing.
effing
At the end of the day, at the end
contract
of the day,
to
hold on.
sign
At
it.
the end of the day, we're sitting here saying all of us would agree that the Eagles have a top 5 roster in the league, right or wrong.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
That's Howie Roseman construction.
Hold on, but I gotta
Regardless
ask
if
Jim
it's the
something.
draft, regardless of its free agency, regardless of its trades.
Part
the
of his
GM's
job is all 3 phases, right?
Yes.
So why are you not going to judge him on those phases?
Right.
But you're saying I'm not going
No.
on the trade
My
and
issue is
contract.
the draft evaluation. You build a team.
That's
through the draft.
everyone's
Do you not-
issue with him now.
Do you not get depth? What's happening in the Patriots right now? They suck because they have
They don't
no money.
suck. They're
Dude,
a
the Patriots-
wild card potential. They
The Patriots
are.
wild card
Yeah,
potential?
maybe.
My ass. They ain't wild
Dude,
card
you
potential.
talk about teams that are.
You don't believe in Mac
the
Daddy?
Eagles did. Packers don't have a great history of drafting either.
Yeah, but you look at the teams that have been successful for so many years.
No, the Ravens.
2016.
Ravens, Steelers, Patriots.
Wentz, no second round pick, Sayamalu. They had 8 total picks. I'm going on from when he was
Wentz,
the GM.
But look at what Wentz turned like Wentz that year. Basically, as much as I hate Carson Wentz now, they don't get to the playoffs or the Super Bowl without Wentz.
Agree.
Also,
That's his first year as GM.
Also,
I'm going to go through the rest.
The Wentz trade also gives them compensation to make moves.
See, but that's
why does that matter?
Trade stuff because you wasted a first-round pick.
They
now
didn't
you're
waste
covering
the
your
first-round
ass.
pick, and then they got all that capital.
Well, he turned it around.
Because he had to.
Oh
Yeah, but so he's doing his job well.
Right.
He's trading well.
No, he's doing his job well. He's recovering from his mistakes.
You know what's the easiest thing that nobody ever come out and say? The reason why they drafted Jalen Hurts is because deep down, Howie Roseman did not believe in Carson Wentz and did not believe in the contract they did, and they wanted to find a way
He picked
to
him.
get
Then why did he
him out.
the GM? He picked him.
No, they already came out and said. Remember, he had an interview and said that.
Of course, he said that.
But it makes sense though. It's not far off the truth. Every time they went to the playoffs, they had to rely on a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That's not like far off from the truth,
Right,
so that's
I'm
why they
saying
did there.
That was a year where they were a team that was coming off the playoff berth, and they still took a backup quarterback in the second round because regardless of what people want to believe, that organization was losing confidence in Carson Wentz. That was not just an insurance policy.
I agree a little bit to what
second round.
Smitty's saying, but at the same time, that draft pick was also a cheap way for a backup. You don't have to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he's athletic, so he can be, if it did have to happen, which it evidently did.
Right.
He can be capable of maybe pulling off a win for you here.
So if you're
that's why they I think made the
if you're gonna base him off the drafts, like since Carson Wentz, like that year 2016, Carson Wentz, Isaac Seumalo, Wendell Smallwood, Vaitai, Blake Countess, Jalen Mills.
Yeah.
I mean, do any of these guys?
I mean,
three starters in the Super Bowl.
3 to 4 of those picks aren't bad.
And
You have one contributor out of that team.
Jalen Mills was a starter in the Super Bowl.
Seumalo
and Vaitai were starters.
that are now a contributor to this team.
Vaitai got paid.
To this team.
Vaitai was
No,
a
but I'm
starter
saying
in
he
the
wasn't
Super Bowl.
like-
And he's not here anymore.
No shit, because he got paid.
Well, he was also he was cut. No,
he got paid.
he was a free agent.
Detroit
Yeah, he was a free
threw
agent.
the bag at him.
Because he's
All right, 2017.
All right, go.
Derek Barnett.
Yep.
Sidney Jones. Rasul
Sidney.
Douglas.
Matt
All right.
Collins.
Derek
Donnell
Barnett
Pumphrey.
had a huge role in that playoff run.
He had
The
8
Super
total
Bowl
picks.
year.
One of them is still with the team. 3 position players. Not a single Pro Bowler.
Okay.
he hasn't had a Pro Bowler since
20,
Wentz.
yeah, exactly.
Jalen.
2018. Got it. I'm not counting alternates.
Yep, there you go.
2018. Goddard. No second round pick.
Goddard
I'll
is
give
a
him.
great pick.
And that's the year he got Mailata.
Maddox.
5 picks that year. 4 of them still with the
job.
team.
Maddox.
2018
Bob's
was a good
right.
year.
Avante Maddox too.
Come on, Jim. Look what you're saying.
2019. Dillard, Sanders, and JJ.
JJ's
JJ
horrible.
was a horrible pick.
a
Dillard's
good
not.
pick.
No, he's
Dillard at
first
the time
round.
was the right
First
move.
no,
Everybody-
first round is a little high.
No, he wasn't. He was the
No,
he
he
wasn't.
was. He was
No.
really.
He
No,
was one
but
of the
if you're
top
looking
four
at it,
chances to be really
I
good
know. I'm
coming
saying like hindsight now though, first
and that-
round is a
out. And you
bad
can't
look.
go
No.
by 2020.
And
Come
that
on,
and
You
that
guys.
can't do 2020
You
hindsight.
guys are
Yeah,
like
no, and that-
reaching, man.
DJ in
I'm
that
not
draft, he was the best passing
Yeah.
Right.
tackle.
Because
Yeah.
he didn't
Ray-
have a holding
Ray did
call
it,
like
Jim.
I
Yeah,
think
he was a
all
great-
of college.
And
or
not only
something.
that, at that point, to even top off what Nate said, at that point they were trying to find a cornerstone tackle to keep Wentz from healthy.
And we don't know if Dillard's. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because like Mailata's that good and developed
But
into
Dillard,
such a
when he
great
played,
tackle.
he was all right.
But Dillard's not horrible when he's played.
He's not horrible.
And
but he
when
meant-
he's played.
Yeah, I
he-
know. That's what I'm
he-
saying.
he
Yeah,
could
I get it. I hear you.
That's like
He could start
Okay,
with
but
all
that's
the
you're
teams.
that's
like-
his
you're
fault.
wasting-
That's his fault.
you're
that
wasting
the top-rated
top
tackle got
of the
hurt.
draft talent.
Dude, how are you like?
You're
Dillard-
wasting it. Who's on this team? From the last 6 years, he's got.
Oh my God. It's about roster construction. Who gives a shit about the
Jim's
draft?
showing emotion
Right.
tonight.
look at Jim. He's got his flustered on his paper.
I don't understand
Wait,
the
here's
undying
here's the
love
other
for
part.
his draft
Wait,
evaluation.
here's the other part.
Can we just agree
No.
that he sucks at draft
No.
evaluation?
Yeah, he does. I will agree with that.
No, you
No,
can't say
no.
he sucks.
He sucks at draft
He's not-
evaluation.
he's
You can't
not
say
good.
He sucks.
Wait,
He's not
hold on.
good.
So hold on, fellas.
Our host is coming
We got
on.
Gonzo. We got
Our guest
Gonzo's
coming
on.
All right, hold on 1 second.
We got
Let me just
Gonzo
read-
coming
You're gonna
on.
make him wait. Come on. Wait till after.
Yeah, we got Gonzo coming on, and I'm telling
I'm
you,
going to ask him.
Nikki knows her stuff, right? Nikki's
Nikki
out
on
here.
again?
Sweat
Yeah,
one?
Nikki's out here on her stuff.
What did
She asked
say?
for an updated RB depth chart now
That's
with
fine.
Sherman.
Sanders,
Sanders,
Gainwell,
Sermon.
Scott, Sermon.
I would say Sermon's
Yeah,
probably
and that's
too.
what I put. And
Think
then
Sermon above Scott?
Maybe. Yeah.
And she said, whatever about Howie is grafted. He's great at drafting. Marcus Smith is enough. Gonzo is Gonzo's waiting on the line. So what do you want me to do, Jim? You want to go to commercial, or do you want to bring Gonzo on?
Do we need to take a commercial?
I'm good. I'm ready to roll.
You guys ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
You're not looking at hiring a coach and their success either.
Right, the one.
All right, well, hey, I'm bringing Gonzo on. I'm bringing Gonzo on.
He was calling it too.
There he is.
Let's get Gonzo.
Yo.
He knows the real.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Hello.
Sorry,
What's up, guys?
we're fired up right now.
I can tell.
There we go.
Got some Howie hate in here, and I don't.
It's not all of us. Just let that be.
Yeah.
be shown.
It's
What-
one of
What's there to? I mean, I missed the Howie hating part. What's there to hate right now in August when everybody's saying how good they are?
Whoa.
Well,
Let's-
Jim's got a sheet to
Hold
show
on,
you.
let's take a breath and introduce our guest prop. All right.
All right.
All right, we're introducing John Gonzalez, a former local media guy here in Philly. He's now out with Sports Illustrated. He's been all over, and I want to get into that too, John. The places you've been behind some enemy lines here. Our quick round the table. I'm Jim. To my left is Deke. We got Smitty, DJ, Bob, Andrew. We got Nate behind the glass, keeping us on the air. We got plenty of questions for you, but we'll get to the Howie thing because it's heated in here right now.
Let me
the
make
Howie
my
thing.
opening statement.
You want to make your opening statement again?
God.
Okay.
So the whole thing that we're talking about is the fact that people in this room are like hooked on the fact that his drafting hasn't been as great, which we agree, right? Like first round picks, he might not
I
have
would say
stayed on.
horrible.
Okay, horrible. But
Sorry about that,
John,
John. I was
John,
going to ask a question.
John,
Didn't mean that to come up.
John, correct
No
me if
worries.
I'm wrong, but isn't the goal of the GM just overall roster construction? Now, yes, has he made mistakes with the draft? But however, how can you criticize a GM that has a top 3 to 5 roster in the league right now? I don't care if it's through the draft. I don't care if it's through
Yeah, you gonna let him
trades.
answer?
I don't care if it's through free
Rambling on here.
That's where I'm at, and that's what I'm trying to explain to them.
No,
I mean-
him, not them.
That you make good points. I think like right now you look at the roster and you have to be thrilled, right? But going back to certain drafts, there's no doubt that he missed on things, right? I mean, I think it's hilarious that he ends up trading JJ Arcega-Whiteside to DK Metcalf's team and Jalen Reagor to Justin Jefferson's team, right? Because that's the thing that we've all been complaining about from the moment he made those moves till shipping them out. However, hard to argue with the team that he's assembled this season. And part of that, obviously, is because they can do more things because they're not paying a ton to their quarterback. So like all of that is sort of part and parcel of like how he makes mistakes sometimes, but you know, although he gives away or although he takes, he also gives to you. So on the whole, I'm happy with what he's done going into the season. I think like, you know, things are looking up.
And
John, hold on, Bob. John, just real quick. I'm sorry. I need to cut in because I was working on the thumbnail. Okay. I just need you to tell me, is this you? I don't know. Is that you?
I'm seeing a pinwheel. That's me.
Is that you? Okay.
That is pandemic me. It got much fuzzier than that. By the end of what I want to say, like by the time 2021 rolled around, it was just a giant fur ball, and I had to get it off, and then this happened. So I had to cut the hair, I had to shave the beard, was Mountain Man-esque. We all went through some dark times.
Yeah, I asked the wife, and I'm like, "Yo, is that him?" Because I don't want to put a thumbnail up, and it's not him. And I wasn't sure. All right, cool. I didn't use that thumbnail. I didn't use that thumbnail, but
we use them all, man. They're all out there in the ether.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to know. I appreciate you clearing that up with me.
Yeah,
because you definitely look like you went to Always Sunny in Philadelphia for a day.
It was, sometimes it gets away from you. It was tough to get a haircut, and then finally,
you don't gotta explain. We've all been there, brother. We look like that now.
You should have seen us. Some of us during COVID.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of scruffiness going on.
Yeah.
Man. So I digress. Go back to sports.
So I am attacking Howie for his draft and his talent evaluation. That is my point. Look, the guy, every night, I have no doubt in my mind when he walks in that office in the morning, he says, how can I make this team better today? The fact that he continues to waste top round picks That to me is important. That's where you build your team, young, cheap, depth, or starters. You should be getting starters out of your top 3 picks. And to tell me, we traded Reagor and we got great draft picks back for Reagor. Yeah, well, you blew a first-round pick on Reagor. I don't care about a 5th and a 6th now. That's my point. At the end of the day, Smitty, I've told you, he's the best GM in Philly right now. No doubt in my mind, best GM in Philly right now. You know my feelings on Moria. Maybe we'll talk some Sixers too.
What about Chuck Fletcher?
Can I thank you guys for something?
What do you got?
I want to thank you for bringing me on because, I live in LA. I've lived out here for a while with Colleen, and I miss the phrase, he's the best general manager in Philly, and then complaints. Like, I feel like I'm home right now, and I appreciate it.
I don't understand how Smitty's saying, how are you, criticizing this guy? That's what we do, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I love you guys. This is fantastic.
That's what makes Philly sports talk so amazing.
You've been putting them on a statue too, so don't back
down. I will say that I've gone back on my Howie comments. Last year and years prior, I wasn't too happy with him, but I got to give credit where credit is due, and this man has done a spectacular job at what he's doing.
Look at the roster. He went through a rebuild after the Super Bowl. Like, he's already improved the roster construction so quick. Not only his coaches.
Right, we've heard
coaches.
We've seen
it. We got our standard guest questions that I want to answer because this will get heated as well, John.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So whenever we bring on a guest, we have standard questions. Now this is how you came up. Last week we had Marcus in here. And one of the questions he said, you know what, my friends John and Colleen, and we'll get to that question. Well, I think you saw it on Twitter around Scrapple. But we have some very local ones that we didn't ask Marcus because we didn't know if he'd have a pertinent position on that based on what we're doing here. So we'll ask you the first question.
All right.
Scrapple, yes or no?
Oh, my God. Yes, every day, all day. It's God's meat.
That's a good man right there.
Wow.
That's a good man.
I mean,
all breakfast.
Nice. There you go.
Listen, if you're from Philly, obviously, like we have an affection for it. But I mean, like, if you give it a second, sometimes it's an acquired taste for people. But if I have the option to do, you can get bacon and sausage anywhere. Scrapple's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Right. And when it's cooked right, it's beyond.
You got to get the good crisp on it.
Yep.
Crisp, and then the mush in the inside.
Oh, yeah. It's perfect.
With some nice ketchup or a little hot sauce on it.
Have you ever done the syrup with it?
Yes.
Yeah, with little waffles. Good. Waffles and scrapple, a little syrup.
Yep.
All right.
No, you guys are taking it too far.
All right, next question. Are you a wing fan?
Am I a what fan?
Chicken wings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Flats or drums?
I'm drums.
Yeah. There you go,
John.
There you go, John.
Two, baby.
Nice. Yeah. You and Marcus are welcome back any old time.
I'm going to say, in fairness, though, when it comes to wings, I don't discriminate. I'm going to eat all the wings. But if I have to pick, it's going to be drums because it's meatier.
I'm with you, John. But if there's a wing and a drum sitting, I mean, a flat or a drum, I'm going drum.
Yeah, because you're a 5-year-old.
Because I like the more meat.
As a 5-year-old.
That's
I didn't say he was. I said decoy.
You can still come around on that. It's okay.
Right.
More meat, less work.
Right.
I don't know. I might disagree there. All right, next question. MJ or LeBron?
Oh, this is, you know what? This is really tough. I want to give a shout out to my friend Chris Wessling, who passed away about a year and a half ago from cancer. He used to do the Around the NFL podcast. If you guys should listen to it, it's really good. One of the podcasts that Colleen's on all the time. Anyway, this is a conversation that I've had with him many, many times, and it drove him absolutely insane. And he always said that it's MJ all day long. And I think he had a point, but you have to factor in LeBron's longevity, the fact that he did it with he's won championships with 3 teams now. I'm not one of those people that gets super exercised about this. I think you could make a case for either. I'm going to guess you're going to force me to pick, so I'll just go with the classic old school one, MJ. But honestly, you cannot go wrong on this. It's 1 and 1A.
He's 3 for 3. If we were playing NBA,
no, but he made a really he made a good point. You can't go wrong with either.
Okay, but you also made a point that
John, if the game's coming coming down to the last shot, who do you want taking that last shot?
Between the two of them?
Of course,
Correct.
Mike. That's a dumb question.
Yeah.
Well, then
It's, you know what? I think it's closer than you would expect because, so everybody thinks and remembers MJ being this clutch player. But if you go back and look at those numbers, that era, and even MJ, like he didn't really, you're saying take the last shot. I'm assuming it's going to be a shot from distance. Like we all remember him crossing up, who was it? Byron Russell. And he makes the shot and he lets it hang up there. Yeah. But he wasn't a great distance shooter. I guess I'm still going MJ.
He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't a great 3-point shooter, but his
mid range
was ridiculous.
And he was amazing under pressure. But so was LeBron.
Yeah. No. I agree with everything you said, and I think LeBron is creeping up in that conversation where I won't argue it anymore, just because I think LeBron is going to do what he's doing now for another 2 or 3 years, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he wants to play with his kids, which will be a great way for him to go out. That's what I'm saying. His longevity. I mean, we forget Jordan burned super bright, took some time off, went for baseball, came back, burned super bright, and then he was horrendous with Washington and then left. And LeBron's 37 going on 38 and still like one of the most dominant athletes, not just in the NBA, but in the world.
He finished third in MVP voting. I mean, come on.
We got to remember the rules have been changed.
We're not going down that
Oh, my God.
The question was answered.
It's all about offense now.
How about also the fact that any team that LeBron's won has been a freaking super team?
MJ never had a super team.
Not
super team, though.
They're not like
these are lightning questions, boys.
All right, yeah. You're right.
Way to control the crowd.
Yeah, let them go.
See, I told you he's professional. He's at least professional. Yes.
All right, now here's the more local questions here. All right, better center, Jason Kelce or Chuck Bednarik?
Oh wow. I mean, give me Kelce. And here's why. It's not so much that I didn't see Bednarik play. I'm aware of his greatness and his history with the team. But it's hard for me to think of somebody who's been a better long-term Eagle than Kelce's been in the modern era. And then two, talk about the fit with the city. Like when he's bartending down the shore or he's given his speech in front of the art museum after they finally won one and we got to see a Super Bowl. That dude just understands the city. So I'll take Kelce.
All right, hold up.
He made his answer.
Yeah, come on.
I know.
No. This is lightning round.
If you want to go fit with the city, his name was concrete because he had to get an off-season job, and that off-season job was working concrete.
Oh, so that
makes him in the city.
That makes him an all-time center.
And I'll give you in the modern
era.
I'll give you in the modern era. It's Kelce all day, but. Overall, look at the numbers on Bednarik with his all-pros as a center. I think his all-pros are equal to or more than as a linebacker.
He's a linebacker.
Give me Honey Bun Tank Fraley.
Oh, my God.
He's a
look at the numbers.
He's a hard knock legend now, Hank Fraley.
Exactly.
So, Gonzo, if you didn't know, Deke is the old head of the group.
Yes.
I'm picking that up.
He is the old head of the group.
Everything's a history
By
lesson.
far.
Everything's a history lesson.
We're multiple generations
Although
of Eagles fans.
I never did see Bednarik play. He retired 3 years before I was born.
That's a lie.
That's a long time ago. There's just pictures of him in black and white. You don't see anything color.
All right, we got two more, and we're gonna make these ones quick because we got important things to talk about. Greatest Eagle of all time, in your mind, no right or wrong here.
Just full stop. Yeah, I'm picking my own.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna forget somebody. There's a list, right? So my generation growing up, I had the Randall Eagles with Reggie White. Obviously, was heartbreak when he left, and he goes and wins a Super Bowl somewhere else. You have to have Reggie on that list. Dawkins comes to mind immediately. He was incredible. Who am I forgetting from? So Mike's saying Reggie White. I mean, Reggie White from my era for sure. And Dawkins, those are the two I'd pick. I want to pick somebody from the team that won the Super Bowl, but I don't know that they're going to end up beating Reggie White or Dawkins.
Those are solid choices.
No, I'll agree with that.
You go with BD, Nick.
Dawkins is. I think Dawkins was the other than old man Winter over here.
You know what? Here's one more for you. I'm going to say Carson Wentz for getting injured so we could get Nick Foles and win the Super Bowl.
There you go. There you go.
There we go. I'm with that.
All right, and final one, which brings some controversy in this room. Were you happy when Andy Reid won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs?
So I was one of the people who wanted Andy to leave, right? Enough was enough. like he's been around for so long, they can't break through. They're never going to win a Super Bowl. And then it's one of those, like, careful what you wish for. You don't realize what you've got until it's gone. Yeah, man, I was happy for him. He is unquestionably, even before he won that Super Bowl, one of the greatest coaches of all time, a Hall of Famer, full stop. Then he wins it. He deserves it. Yeah, I was happy for him for sure.
A lot of good answers there. A lot of good answers.
Man.
Why are we going to be upset about him winning a Super Bowl? We
I'm
had
with
good
you.
times with him.
I mean, he made the Eagles the most winningest, era. He had the most winningest era of Eagles football. I mean,
and all due respect to Andy, loved Andy. I was with you, John. He had to go when it was time to go, but then he was no longer our coach. I don't.
Yeah, but
I'm not the guy that
you're not going to
hopes that the Browns win a Super Bowl. Didn't care about the Cubs. Like it's not Philly.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get excited for Andy Reid.
Yeah, my reasons go a little deeper than that. I didn't like the way he treated David Akers, what he said about him, and the worst week of his life.
Well, that's
other things. I lost some respect for Andy when he did things like that.
I'm surprised you didn't ask the one question, Jim, for
Which
John.
Oh,
Villanova?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not one of our standard
No,
questions.
I know, but
standard.
he's a local guy,
He's a
so
local
you can
guy.
ask him. Is Villanova a Philadelphia school, John?
Oh, I love this. I tweeted. I love
You're the sale guy, right?
This is I went to LaSalle. So I first, and I also want to discuss the City 6 thing, but is Villanova a Philly school? Yes, but right? Like, yeah, it's a Philly school. Yeah, it's a Philly school, but I find it hilarious. I love to needle people who went to Villanova, and during the tournament, everybody gets up and like excited for Nova, especially Nova fans. On their website, it says like where Villanova is, and it says like 25 minutes from Philadelphia, and I tweet that out, and they lose their minds, and I think it's hilarious.
I think I've actually seen that a couple of times when I'm scrolling through Twitter. So that's awesome.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I love that. But
LaSalle?
What's up?
When did you graduate LaSalle?
Oh, dude, I'm old. I graduated in '99.
Oh,
not that LaSalle, Nate.
Not the
LaSalle University.
LaSalle University.
I went to LaSalle University too, fellas.
Oh, we thought you were just high school. Sorry.
Go Explorers. So I know you guys wanted to have Colleen on, but so she has this conversation all the time about she's desperate for it to be the City 6, and can we all agree that that's not a thing?
I want Villanova out, and then we could put somebody else in. Like
that's
Trevor.
cool. You can put Drexel in their spot.
Respect to you and your wife. We didn't ask for Colleen. We asked for you, bro.
All right.
I wanted the interaction of the two of you with those questions, but
this is
fine. Now we're here. Now we're here.
Yeah, we're good.
I will say that I've had friends that go into Drexel, and my one friend who is more of a sports fan than the others, he will say City 6 because he went to Drexel, so he's a little biased, but
they're the only ones who say City 6. Nobody who doesn't go to Drexel says City 6.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'm a St. Joe's guy. I'm all for that City 6.
Yeah.
You also believe Nova's not a city school.
Yeah,
but it's the outskirts of
we can find another school.
You got no respect when you said you're a St. Joe's guy. It was quiet after that.
Tough times for St. Joe.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Once Martelli left, it's all downhill.
Yeah.
You grab the Sixers assistant coach, you can't coach.
All right. We got through the questions. We good?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it now, John. Just kind of fill us in on where you've been. You were here at Philly, like I said, Sportsnet, CSN Philly, you're writer here, and you were behind some enemy lines, right? You were in Dallas before you came here, I think, right? In Boston. Now you're in California. I don't know where the California teams are much enemy lines.
Other than the Lakers. We hate LeBron here.
We do hate the Lakers.
I don't hate LeBron.
Oh, yeah, you have it.
LeBron just has his own fan club.
You all hate LeBron. I do not hate
You have a love infection with him, but keep going.
But what's the perspective, being a local Philly guy, being in those cities, now being outside and being an insider looking from the outside, if that makes sense. What's it like? Is this fan base really one of the best fan bases, or one of the rowdiest fan bases, or one of the worst fan bases? We see these polls all the time. What has your experience been being in these other cities, especially being behind some of our heated rivals in their fan base?
Yeah, so because of my career, I mean, you go where the work is. So when I was super young, started out, I had to move to Dallas, and I'm covering the Cowboys, which was weird. It sucked. And then I went to Boston, and I'm dealing with Celtics fans, which super sucks. Some of my best friends are from Boston. They're the worst. Now I live in LA, and like nobody cares about sports. But to answer your question, because it's nice here and people go to the beach. To answer your question, are Philly fans, and is Philly the best or the worst? I wrote about this once. It's both. Like we know. Like there are times when we are the absolute greatest, right? And then there are times when you're like, God, we suck, like as fans. And I love that about us because it's both of those things tie back to one thing, which is passion. And like, you don't see that in a lot of other places. It's mostly like an East Coast thing, right? Like people in Dallas, they like the Cowboys, but you're going to get a Cowboys fan from like San Francisco sometimes. And then here in LA, Lakers fans or Yankees fans or whatever. Whereas if you grow up in Philly, you get the 4 teams you get for good or bad, a lot of bad, and we suffer through it together, and that creates a community. So I love it.
Very nice. I thought you had a question.
No, that good.
Sorry. You looked at me like a pause. So we know you're a big hoop head, right? Would you say is basketball your main sport or 1A, 1B? I want to get your thoughts on the Sixers. It's another heated conversation here. Another GM that we don't always agree on. But
here we go.
What are your thoughts on the Sixers coming up this season and Harden? Are we putting too much faith in James Harden? Was it a good move last year?
Considering that Ben Simmons wasn't playing and like took his ball and went home, like getting Harden for Simmons and who did they move? Seth Curry and Drummond.
Yeah.
You got to make that move, right? Because it's James Harden. Now, did he look good? Not great at a lot of times. I wanted him to try to score more. He definitely was out of shape. I will say, I do like the offseason moves that Morey made. I love the bringing into Anthony Melton. I like Daniel House a lot. I'm forgetting somebody important here.
PJ Tucker.
Yes, PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, like all of a sudden they're way, way deeper. And I mean, did you see the photos of Harden over the summer? He's slimming down. He looks like he looks like he's in shape. I'm optimistic.
He threw the cake in the water.
Yeah, he threw a fake cake in the water. I'm in.
We've also seen videos of Ben Simmons in the offseason.
There it is.
Come on, dude.
I'm just saying.
James Harden,
you guys hang on these.
His whole career.
I'll put more stock into the James Harden videos than Ben Simmons.
So we're getting MVP James Harden next year.
No, not MVP.
I don't know if you're going to get MVP James Harden, but you're going to get
different.
You're going to get a hungry James Harden that wants to get paid one more time, and whether it's here or not, he's going to work for it. He's going to work for it. So if it gets us a ring next year, and he leaves, okay.
I got a quick question for you, John. So, living on the West Coast, would you say it's away from Philly? Would you say it's a little harder, or I mean, is the distance, I guess, affects it too? Would you say it's a little harder to follow the Philly sports? You kind of keep up with it pretty well, and the Philly, I guess.
I mean, so like I said, I lived in Dallas for 4 years, Boston for 4 years. Now I've been out here for 6, and then the rest of my life is in Philly. And like, you can move me around, but I'm still paying attention to the same stuff. Right. And like now, what are we doing? We're having a conversation virtually. Yeah. I feel like I'm in the room with you guys. Like my number one thing in the morning, my routine is always the same. I get up, I make some coffee, and now I'm reading Philly.com. I'm going through everything that's happening on there. I'm reading the blogs, and like I'm tapped into everything Philly first, and then I look at everything else.
There you go. So it's kind of like you can take the guy out of Philly, but you can't take Philly out of the guy, right?
Yeah, like I said, right. I mean, we have the same experience, this communal experience where like we're tapped into these teams that have made us suffer a lot, and like you don't kind of just like move away from it. I mean, I don't know. All the people I know from Philly out here, you meet somebody and you're like, oh yeah, and then you just start talking about Philly.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's cool that there's always that connection. There's always that common thread that you can go back to.
I mean, all the friends, for both of us, all our friends and family are still there.
All right, yeah.
And you just know when you meet somebody from Philly. You just know. And no matter where you go. There's a lot of people out west from Philly. There's a lot of people down south in like Florida from Philly. So
Yep.
We've got a good friend of the show that's out in Australia.
That's true.
Right? He's always
Yeah,
we got some
that's true.
Australia
keeps an
fans?
eye on our Philly sports here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you have a question, or
one of our listeners, he wanted me to ask you, who do you think was the best basketball player at LaSalle? Kenny Durrett, Michael Brooks, or the L Train?
I'm an L Train guy.
L Train.
Part of the reason why, part of the reason why I went to LaSalle, a good buddy of mine who used to work for the Delco Daily Times, his dad went there. He always wanted to go there, and we used to go as kids to see LaSalle and L Train. So yeah, man, they were amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Speedy, I mean, those were good teams back then.
Oh yeah, they went to the tournament every year.
Yeah. And then
that was a fantastic team.
And then they never updated their facilities. They play in a glorified high school gym, and
But I kind of like Tom Gola.
The Tom Gola
I think
Arena?
it's cool. I think it's a different,
It's
vibe.
It's trash.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
it's hard
trash.
to compete when you got the Palestra too. I mean,
I actually went to see them play one year in the convention center.
Oh, jeez, you're old.
yo,
Across some
here we
chops.
go.
which
Here we go.
convention center?
Across some chop.
yep, yeah. That was my freshman year. They played there. They were horrible. They were like 6-24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to say they played St. Joe's, but I'm not positive. My dad and my brother went to LaSalle, and my brother graduated LaSalle in 71. And when I was a little kid, my dad used to bring me down to a lot of games at the Palestra to watch LaSalle. My brother was up in the student section.
It's actually a quick question too. Is the Palestra a dump? Because that's been brought up too on the show.
Oh, God.
Yes.
You're asking me? No, man.
Yeah,
The Palestra
yeah,
is like
No.
the Palestra is legendary. That's an iconic place to watch a basketball game.
Hey, you hear that, AB? You hear that, AB?
It's the cathedral of basketball.
You can smell Wilt Chamberlain's.
Oh yeah, you can smell.
You can
The
smell
Palestra-
Wilt Chamberlain's sweat still when you got
Yeah.
the Palestra.
Palestra's awesome. Plus, like
Yeah.
how close you are to the court as a fan.
Yeah.
And there's no bad seat in the house.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's great.
The history, the Big Five doubleheader back in the day. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Streamers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Went to a lot
Yeah.
of them. I missed the streamers.
Yeah.
Streamers are cool.
All right, so now catch us up. Like I said, you're out there on the West Coast now. Catch us up on what you're doing with Sports Illustrated, and just where you're at now.
Yeah. So when I moved out here, I mean, Colleen and I were bi-coastal for a while because she got the job out at NFL Network, which is out here. And I was like, this sucks. I should live with my wife. So I moved out here, how to find a job.
It's a stress.
Worked at the Ringer for 5 years, which was a good gig, covered the NBA for a long portion of it. And then SI had an opportunity. I like, you guys are sports fans, right? Like for me, when I was growing up, Sports Illustrated was the coolest thing on the planet. I had stacks and stacks of them in my room, and I collected them, and I couldn't wait every week until it came. And so when they asked me if I was interested in coming over, yes, I mean, like lifelong dream. Like it's like that and ESPN, right? Where you're like, man, if I could work there someday, I'd really make it. So they asked me to come over. We started a new podcast called Sports Illustrated Weekly, which is kind of like, you know, if you've seen Real Sports, HBO Real Sports, it's like that, only a podcast. And then I'm a senior writer for them, and life's good, man. No complaints.
Nice.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of a job you can do from anywhere, I'm guessing. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, especially now, like, you know, I tend to write, you know, like when I was in Philly, I was a columnist and, you know, I did TV stuff. Now I tend to write like longer stuff, like magazine length stuff. And so it's always good to go somewhere and talk to people. But now, like, especially post-pandemic, we've all been doing this for so long that like you can really do it without ever leaving your house if you need to.
That's true.
Yeah. So, John, this is Bob here. Just, you know, about the Eagles, trying to backtrack a little bit. What is a thing that excites you about this team? And then what is something that you're a little concerned about?
I'll give you the same answer for both. He plays quarterback. Right? I mean, like last year, you never knew what Jalen Hurts you were getting, up through and including the Buccaneers game at the end. I was at the regular season game. That didn't go great. That was a Thursday night football game. Colleen, it was the first time she ever hosted Thursday night football from Philly, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's right.
But Like
we're down there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then the game less awesome. But like it's Hurts, right? If you get improvement from Hurts, then the sky's the limit for this team. And if you get what you got out of Hurts in the playoffs, then not going to be so great.
He's got to be great for them to take it. Like I had this conversation with somebody else before, and the question was, the question was, who has to have the breakout season? And there's a lot of players you could talk about. You could talk about Brown. You could talk about Goddard.
Could even talk about Josh Sweat.
You could talk about Sweat if you want. Yeah, you can talk about who you want. But to me, it's Hurts. It starts and ends with the quarterback. It always will, and it always has been in this league. Yep. And he has people. I think people have gotten to the point because his roster's so good that he's like he just has to be okay. And I don't think that's true. He has to be better than okay. He has to be really good. Like he has to be Pro Bowl good for them to be able to take it. Because sooner or later, this roster and the talent on this roster will get them past the bad teams, the even okay teams, even the good teams. But when they face the Matt Staffords, the Tom Brady's, he's going to have to be able to throw and deliver the ball. They're not going to be able to just to sit back and play defense and him run his way to winning. He's got to be able to throw the ball. And that's why I've always questioned him because of his talent. I've gotten back to supporting him a little bit because he's a worker, right? You won't put him down. He's going to keep coming back. He's going to fight through adversity. He's done it everywhere he's been, is fight through adversity. I understand he has the first time he's had the same OC. That's all that stuff to me is just noise on the back end. I just don't know if his arm talent is good enough to get us over the hump because I don't think this defense is not comparable to those Hall of Fame defenses that had inefficiencies at the quarteback. You know, the Russell Wilsons.
They're not the
Brad Johnsons, right. the Trent Dilferds. All those teams had Hall of Fame defenses with multiple Hall of Famers on there. I don't know if this team has that because Cox is way past his prime, and I'm not. There's no more names on this defense that speaks Hall of Fame or can talk in that conversation just yet. They're just all a lot of good players.
The one thing when we talk about passing the ball that we have to remember, he didn't have that much last year. He had Rager, who we obviously know is garbage, and Devontae Smith was a rookie wide receiver who had potential, but it took him some time. Now he has a bona fide stud wide receiver and A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith knows the league a little bit more. I feel like last year, like we're saying, okay, all right, he made the playoffs. But guess what? That team doesn't even make the playoffs if it isn't for Hurts' legs. We need to remember that. If Hurts, the running game, as much as in Philly, it's not the sexy thing because, like, Hurts was running the ball, that team has no success if Hurts doesn't run the ball and become that threat. So I think this year is the true year where you can actually measure his success because he actually has talent around him.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, Smitty. But the thing is, you know me, I'm a bettor, right? I bet, and I talk about betting. That formula does not work to win Super Bowls.
You're right, but also last year they didn't have that much talent. Sanders was hurt. As much as I love Miles Sanders, okay, Goddard was hurt
Miles
as well.
Sandals.
After, they had Jalen Rager, who we know is trash, and then you had Devontae Smith, who's a rookie. So this is the true test this year. They've surrounded him with talent.
Sorry, Gonzales, the floor is yours. My bad.
I agree with some of that. That he definitely has to step up. I don't know that he has to be like a Pro Bowl quarterback, but he has to be better. You know what he has to be? He has to be more consistent than he was last year. But I have a question for you guys. So everybody here and also on Twitter, like Michael Irvin and Mina Kimes from ESPN, and all you guys keep talking about how much talent this team has. And I agree. I think on paper they have a lot of talent. The Philly in me, though, gets real nervous when we start talking about how good this team is. Because I'm like, every time we do that, they end up having a bad season.
Yep.
The dream team comes to mind.
It makes me nervous.
It doesn't make me really
this
nervous at
national
all.
talk.
It doesn't really make me nervous at all because they are good. Like, I think that dream team talk was a little bit different dynamic because you had so many big names coming in. You don't have big names coming in and from a free agency standpoint, but their roster is like deep.
Yeah, but everybody's drooling over this team. It does. It scares me. And you worry they start smelling themselves a little bit, right? Like I looked at NFL.com earlier today, and there was a poll that was taken. 23 out of the 25 people they asked had the Eagles winning the NFC East, and I think another half of them had them winning the NFC.
But their offensive line is like the best in the league.
I know. I agree.
They're built inside out. I mean, the way Andy wanted to build this team and how you always built this team, they're built from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So my thought is that it makes sense.
And they have depth at every position.
They are like I get what you guys are saying. I'm not drooling over it, but one, their schedule is super soft.
Yep.
Right. And then the second part of it is like they are deep everywhere. Like they have literally stars in every position. And I don't think
we've had teams like that before.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The dream team,
not like this, man.
Team wasn't, dude. That dream team was Vince Young running his mouth. It wasn't studs at every position.
Not like this. I don't think we've ever had a roster.
Like guys that were supposed to be studs. Yes, they were tagged studs when they were here.
Yeah, but you didn't have
whether they
you did not
ended
have
up
the
being
depth
studs
that you
or
had
not
with this team.
Yeah,
if injuries happen, this team still can survive that.
I think I'm with John. It's that Philly chip in the back.
It makes
of our head.
It makes me think a little.
Saying,
yeah.
Let's not get too excited.
This team can win the East. This team can win a playoff game or two. They're in the like I said before we came on, because the NFC is the weaker conference. They're in the mix. They're not necessarily in the Super Bowl mix to win, but they're in the mix maybe to get there.
And I think they're at least another year or two out from being a legitimate contender.
Yeah.
Hurts is not here in another year if they don't get to the playoffs.
I think they're legit contenders now.
They're a contender
the talent on this roster is good enough.
It's close.
But
I think they're a contender.
Smitty, me and you don't disagree much, but I think like as long as we all been watching football. And Dick, you've been watching football for like 70 years. But as long as we all been watching football, I don't remember a complete team like this.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like Dick, like you said before, the question mark is you're looking at the coaching.
Yeah.
What's the question mark?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not looking at anything on the field.
Right.
Our secondary offensive line you have like 3 or 4 starters there. Our defensive line is deep as well. We have corner depth everywhere. Safety, they just kind of we shored up. We have linebackers. We have a
backup.
Like we're really like we're just solid everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not whether we have holes on this team. It's just a question mark. Like, can Hurts be the guy?
Yeah.
There's no holes. There's just question marks. Can Sirianni be a good head coach or a good enough head coach to get us to the promised land? Is Gannon that guy? Is he going to depend on that bend, don't break type defense that we had last year?
Andrew's going to speak.
Go ahead, Andrew.
The youngster.
What do you got, Baker Mayfield in the Super Bowl?
No.
All right, good.
Why do you have so much faith in Hurts? He has proved absolutely nothing in this league.
That's a little harsh.
Wait a
but
minute,
he came on hard.
Nothing.
He got us to the playoffs.
Well, yeah,
in his first year as a start. In the first year as a starter, he came in. He led us to the playoffs.
Game did.
He was part
of
the running game.
No.
What do you mean no?
He was a big
touchdowns,
part of the running
No,
game.
he wasn't. And you think they're a contender with Hurts?
Yes.
No. Get the hell out of here. He can't throw a ball to save his life. Get the hell out of here.
I think you're the only one.
You're very harsh right there.
Yeah, you are.
All right, I think we're taking up. It's probably dinner time. We're taking up much more time than I asked for. So I appreciate you, John. What's your prediction for the Eagles then? We're putting it on the line now. We're going to do this next week, guys, but I want to get your prediction on where are these Eagles. Yeah, that was way too early. We're going to do it again.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going up.
John, you want me to bring up the schedule for you? You want
to? I'm good. Like everybody else, I've run through it. I think 12 wins is attainable. I think winning the NFC East is attainable. I think a potential deep playoff run is attainable. That's what I'm thinking. But all this talk about exactly what you guys are saying, where like everyone, like you go on NFL.com or whatever, and the hot fashionable sleeper, take that next step team is the Eagles, and that makes me nervous. So the Philly in me, I'm going to not say, what we all want them to end up doing, I'm going to say I think it's going to be a good season. I think it'll be a building block on what the youngin just said from last year. He wasn't thrilled with Jalen Hurts. Hey, you got to take steps, right? They made the playoffs last year in his first year as quarterback. This year, I think they go further. And then, maybe next year, something big. But who knows? Something big could happen this year. Fingers crossed.
You got one more question,
Smitty? I always ask
on the way out the door.
So this time next year, is Hurts still the quarterback?
Oh, wow. Well, for my prediction to be true, it has to be yes. So I'll say yes.
Yep.
There you go.
One more
sleep easily tonight.
One more before you go, Gonzo, because I'm the better guy. Over or under 9.5
The betters are gambling, not the betters.
He
the
said
better
12 wins.
O-R, not E.
Oh, I'm over.
Wait, he said 12 wins. 9.5 is larger than 12.
Yeah, I'm over.
Smitty, I know that.
12 is larger.
12 is larger than 9.5.
Smitty, clear that up next time, buddy.
He just said 12 wins, so of course it'd be over.
You just hush up over there, buddy. Nice try.
All right.
Nice try.
Let him
John,
talk.
Let us know again where we can find you and find your articles and find the podcast.
Yeah. You can find the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called SI Weekly. I also appear on our NBA podcast, Open Floor. I go on our football podcast, MMQB. And then you can read me at SI.com, and you can find my name, John Gonzalez, on Twitter. This was great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Super
for
fun.
coming on.
We appreciate it. And
we really enjoyed you.
If it's okay, maybe we'll reach out again at NBA during basketball.
Please do. Hit me up whenever. Send some Scrapple out.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I'll hit you up later. We'll send you a couple sanities.
All right, perfect.
I don't know how well Scrapple travels.
The dry ice.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, John, if you're ever in town on a Thursday night, let us know. We'll have you in studio.
Absolutely. I'll hit you guys up. Colleen can do the show from there.
That'd be awesome.
There we go.
Yeah, that would be great.
You see how they brighten up right when you said that?
Don't think like this.
The female audience helps.
It does. Shout out to Nikki. Nikki was sticking with us.
Yeah, we do lack a little bit of a female audience, but
we're getting better. John, thanks again. We really appreciate it. We had fun. I hope you did too. Good luck. Yeah. Go Birds.
Yeah.
Go Birds. Appreciate you guys.
Keep repping Philly on the West. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
Later.
All right, that was good. 2 weeks in a row, we got some pretty good guests.
That was cool.
Very good.
Let's keep it going.
You guys got to follow through, man. You got to get these guys some shirts. Send them both Scrapple. You got to send Marcus Scrapple too. He put in a request too.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's got to be like some type of specialty delicacy
no, you can
deli out there.
No, you can. No, there's a website. There's a website where you can literally ship almost any food.
There is a website where you can send
I don't know, but
a Philly care package.
No, I know. It's bad, but but my cousin got an apple pie, like a frozen apple pie baked from some bakery out in like Kansas City or some not local, shipped down the shore for us down the shore last summer, 2 summers ago.
Like John said, it's dry ice.
Yeah.
We'll see if one of these local Scrapple areas want to be a sponsor, and we'll have them. The only problem with sending it to Marcus is there's a way to cook Scrapple.
Well, he can hit up John and
John will show
or he'll just go over to John and Colleen's to eat it with them. So, all right. We are, Phil's.
Rough series, but
I was going to touch on the Baker thing, but look, we got next week. The season is starting next week. We will be in here Thursday next week. There will be football Thursday night. Next week is the start of season 5 for us.
Who's playing that Thursday? You know,
St. Louis or LA?
Yeah, it's
LA.
the Rams.
Is it?
It's Buffalo.
Bills
it's
and
Buffalo
Rams.
and Rams.
Yeah, it's always the Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, it's a Super Bowl winner and usually a division conference championship team. This year it happens to be Buffalo and Rams.
So we are looking forward to another season, hopefully another magical season.
Wait, time out. Nate, did you see the comment from Joe White about the freshman linebacker from LaSalle?
Yeah.
He just got ejected.
Yeah. What, for targeting?
Probably targeting.
Probably.
They're so soft out there. Good hit, kid.
Actually, before we go, I'm looking at some of these comments here. Our guy Pat enjoyed the shirts. Glad they got to you. That was a little quicker than I expected. And Nikki, if you're still listening, look, we love the female interaction. If you're in the area, you seem to know ball, you want to come in and chop it up with us, the invitation's always out there. We tell all our listeners, just hit us up. We're happy to have anybody in studio with us here. Love to talk any type of sport other than soccer. We talk more hockey than we do soccer.
Yeah.
She said, "You sure?"
It's a rare.
I'm a bit of a chatterbox.
That's the rest of the show.
We've got a few of them in here.
Yeah.
I try to keep it in line, but sure. All right. Any parting thoughts? You ready to go out? We good?
Yeah, I want to
We're
go
good.
watch some college
You guys
football.
want to watch football? All right, let's go
Yeah.
Penn State. We are.
Are they winning?
Yeah, they're up 7-3.
Wow, that's pretty weak, Smitty.
That's because I'm just reading that they
Ah,
said that the
okay.
linebacker that got thrown out
Okay.
led with his shoulder.
All right, folks. Next week is real football. Real football. We'll be in here with our predictions for the season. We'll see what guests we can get in here to give their predictions. We're going to go full NFL all the way to the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll get our guy Tone in here, get some futures bets in.
Mm-hmm.
But look forward to it. Again, another magical season I feel coming on. Forget that dream team stuff. This team's got it. I think we're going to look at a fun season. Until next week, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Be excellent to each other.
Philly, Philly.